Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we are almost at the hard court season. We have another week where there were two surfaces played on. Last week was grass and clay. This week was hard court and clay.
Shout out to the clay.
Shout out to the clay. They are not trying to let it go. Brother Bryce, let's talk about tennis, man. How you doing first and foremost?
I am doing good, man. It was a lot, like you were saying before we jumped on this podcast. There were a number of tournaments last week. There are a number of tournaments this week, and we had special events happening. And then the hard court summer series is about to go in full swing, and the Williams sisters are coming out the back cave, and it's just. It's just a lot going on right now.
Right? Everybody busy. Everybody, they like, oh, it's summer. We got to be busy.
Well, let's start off by talking about something a little fun. And I'll admit, I didn't get a chance to watch any of it, but I know that they had kind of an exhibition tournament in Atlanta.
Yes.
This weekend. Did you get a chance to see any of it?
I did. So I watched a little bit. Well, I pretty much watched the Coco and Taylor match. And I have to be honest with you. I only watched a little segment or two of the Coco Kinnan match. But I tell you what, man, the Coco Taylor match was just a really, really fun match. Both ladies looked great. They were in good spirits. There were a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles, really good tennis played on both sides. At one point, I was like, ooh, Coco hitting a whole bunch of drop shots. She testing out that fitness. But Taylor stepped up, man. She was getting to balls and she was using that lefty swing of hers. It was really a fun match. It was a good match for both of them to really kind of get their feet wet as it relates to the hard court summer series and what's the lead up to the U.S. Open. So I really, really enjoyed the match, Bryce. It was two sisters out there playing good tennis and having fun.
Oh, that's great, and I'm happy to hear that Taylor is still looking good, and hopefully, Coco is feeling good, getting ready to get to this hard court swing. So now, how about Coco Kinnan match?
So that was a little maybe less. And I think that, there was some smiles here and there. And of course, Coco she's always about it. She's, a great entertainer and she's just a great young lady. I think with Kinnan, of course, she's a bit more stoic. So I don't think that, of course, it's really her thing per se. Okay. So it wasn't as fun as the Coco Taylor match, in my opinion. I think Kinnan was definitely more so out there trying to really get her feet, kind of, really wet as far as playing, you know what I mean? Because she's been out, she's been injured, she had a, foot issue, and she just, of course, has been through a lot of drama. So I think for her, it was a little bit more serious just to get on court with another professional and really try and see where her strokes were. But it was a good match. It, in my opinion, of course, wasn't as good as Taylor Coco, but it was all right. And she's still got a ways to go. I'm talking Kinnan, before she really gets back to the form that she once was in that, won her a Grand Slam. But, she'll get there. She'll be all right.
Well, that's exciting. And I'm glad you caught it because I don't know how I just missed all of that. I ended up, reading about it on social media. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang, now that was televised and I missed it.
Right. They were sneaky with it. The Tennis Channel just kind of slid it on in there. So they didn't really say a lot. So it was easily missed, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, and Taylor had the baby out. When they were doing the interview at the end, the baby was on the court. He had a little tennis racket, was trying to hit the balls. I was like, oh, that's adorable. So, yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh, well, good reporting on that, Isaac.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's move to the tournaments that have some points attached to them.
Yes, finally.
And so the first one here is we have the Hamburg European Open in Hamburg, Germany. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go with the top 4 seeds instead of the top 8 because once you get past 4, you start reaching a little bit. So top seed was Kontaveit, Then you had Kasatkina, who's really out the closet. Shout out to her. Krejcikova and Sasnovich.
Right.
So Isaac, your girl.
My girl was like, listen, we're going to make it 2 weeks in a row. Bernarda Pera is trying to get things done on the tennis court, and I'm loving all of it. Sign me up, man. Like I said, been a fan of hers, and I just feel like she has definitely been ready to play good tennis, and she's finally showing it. And to be able to get back-to-back titles and to beat Kontaveit,
yes,
listen. That's not an easy task. So she did some great things. She beat Siniakova in the tournament, who we've heard about. Like I said, she just had a really, really great week. And like I said, it just continued on from the previous win that she had. So, hey, she went from not having a tournament at all to winning 2 in a row.
You know, I'm hoping this is all leading up for her to potentially have a good run at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
If she keeps playing like this, I just don't want her to draw Serena or Venus in the first round. Keep Bernarda Pera away from them.
Yes.
We got to protect our national treasures.
Got to protect them, bro. Come on now.
So congratulations, Pera. That is awesome. 2 wins in a row. Let's see if you can make it 3.
There you go.
So next, let's move on to the 33rd Palermo Ladies Open in Palermo, Italy. And, I was about to say, I can't even start with the top seed because Trevisan pulled out with a back injury before the start of the tournament.
Right.
So then you had Putintseva and Zhang Shui and Cerebus Tormo and your girl, Caroline Garcia.
That's right.
Bagu, and like I say, you start stretching. So we had in the finals Bagu and Bronzetti.
Yes. 2 surprise finalists because none of them were seeded, but hey, they made their way to a final, and Bagu was like, hey, you look hungry. Let me give you some hoe biscuits. And served Bronzetti up 2 of them and said, give me this title. Get out the way.
That is awesome. So, and Bagu, she's one of those kind of players that, she kind of has a very unorthodox style.
Right.
But when she's on.
Exactly. When she's on, she's dangerous.
She's very dangerous. Right.
So, and she showed it this week.
I see that. And shout out to the hoe biscuits in the finals. And Isaac, I just want to take this moment to just tell this very brief story. We received a message from, I can't remember who the user was, but she was from Australia. And she was saying that the people in their tennis club down there were using hoe biscuit, but they didn't really know the background on it. So she wrote us to get what's the background on hoe biscuit, and I wrote it up for her. And she was like, oh, we get it. That makes sense. Let me go back and educate the club. So shout out to the tennis club in Australia that's hoe biscuit.
I love it. And hopefully one day when we are back in Australia, we're going to play some tennis and we can serve up some hoe biscuits. How about that?
Exactly.
Love that.
So speaking of the tournaments coming up this week.
Yes.
We have... first, and this should be no surprise, at the BNP Paribas Poland Open in Warsaw, Poland, we get Iga back.
Iga's back.
Yeah, Iga's back. Once again. So, and it looked like all the seeds have basically pulled out.
I know, right?
Iga's the top seed, and then Sava pulled out.
Yep.
Then Cerebus Tormo pulled out.
Yep.
Then Bagu pulled out.
Yep.
So then now the next person is Garcia, and then you start stretching.
Exactly. She was the only one brave enough to stay in the tournament. She was like, I think all of them were like, listen, Iga on clay in Poland. Just think about that, y'all.
Right.
She is going to drive some folks, and it's not going to be pretty.
It is not.
No.
So As you look at the draw, Isaac, I mean, how do you see this? Let's just jump. This is a 250, so let's jump to who do you potentially see making it into the finals from the top half and the bottom half?
Yeah, I think Iga. I would have, said Caroline if she were in the bottom half, Garcia, but she's not. So I think she's gonna get drove by Iga, and I think the final will, in my opinion, be Iga versus there go that girl, Petra Magic.
I agree with you.
Gotta have some love for Petra because she's trying to get her ranking back, and so I think she's gonna be again on a crusade to at least make it to the final.
Right, and I'm assuming you're thinking like I am, with Iga is gonna probably drive her by a local bakery in Poland in the final.
Man, she got that car already started, bruh. It is started. It is fueled up. She's like, "Come on, let's go." Can't just smell it.
So we'll look at we'll keep an eye on this and see how this one progresses.
Absolutely.
And then the final women's tournament we have for this week is in Prague. Czechoslovakia. And, this is not a horrible draw.
It's not.
We have Kontaveit as the top seed, followed by Krejcikova, then Elise Mertens, then Kristea, then Cornet, then Van Uytvanck. Then Potapova, and then Bustova.
Yes. And like I said, very decent draw. Good names. I think it's going to be a fun tournament there for sure.
So let's kind of look at who you think might make it to the finals.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to go the easy route, and I'm going with the top two seeds. I actually feel like it'll be a Kontaveit versus Krejcikova final.
Okay.
I think that Kontaveit is finally getting her rhythm back. She's played a few tournaments, and yes, she's gotten upset, but I think that it's a good thing. I think she's really trying to get her form back. And honestly, the same with Krejcikova. I think that both of them have been out. They were injured, and they're just kind of trying to find their games again. And I think they've played enough tournaments to this point where I think there's not anybody in the draw that I see should worry them. Well, I should say this. Cornet worries. I think Cornet will worry me as far as Krejcikova goes.
Yep.
But I don't know that I see anybody up top messing with Kontaveit. I think I see Kontaveit making the final without any issue.
I totally agree with you. Right, and I was going to let you finish, and I was going to come and say the one person,
right,
that might throw a wrench in all of this is that daggone Cornet.
That daggone Cornet. Alizé don't be playing. She's like, I'm good for an upset, y'all. Don't get it twisted.
Right. So, but I do believe that Kontaveit should win the overall tournament.
I would agree with that for sure. Yeah, I feel like she's definitely the one that feels to me like she's finding her form the fastest of the folks we just spoke about. So I would be surprised if she didn't win this 250.
Right, and you got to think about it. She's feeling, she lost in the finals last week.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to take this, one step further.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So let's move over to the men.
Yeah.
And we'll start with the 250.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Swiss Open in Gstaad.
Right.
And nice tournament, especially as you think about clay court players. Top seed, you had Casper Ruud, followed by Berrettini, then RBA, then Ramos Vinolas, then Pedro Martinez, then Garin, Hugo Gaston, you gotta watch him, and then Sousa.
Right.
So, what did you think of this tournament? We had Casper Ruud meeting Berrettini. in the finals, but maybe we want to take a step back and look at the semifinals.
I was going to just say that. I want to step back on this one and look at those semis, because I'm going to be honest with you, Bryce. I enjoyed this tournament. I really, really did. And both of those semifinals were awesome. I mean, we know Casper Ruud is a beast on clay, and for him to play my boy Ramos Pinoles, I just was like, okay, that should be awesome. But Casper Ruud didn't agree with me, and he was like, you know what? Ain't nobody scared of your leftiness, and I'm about to give you this whole biscuit and this bagel and tell you to get on. So, and quietly, Ramos Pinoles was lucky, in my opinion, to get out of that match with Jared. Because he's a really good player and someone that we've seen in the past, and so it's nice to see him back playing again. So anyway, that to me was a fun semi, but that whole Team Berrettini, okay, I was like, all right. The fact that Dominique made it to a semi, in my opinion, was a big win for him.
I agree.
And I think he played what again, he got served a breadstick, but I feel like he played a good match against Berrettini again in his comeback. I mean, this is a former top 10 player who basically had not lost in this was 3 tournaments.
Right.
So I was definitely thumbs up to Dominique, but you got to give love to Berrettini. Berrettini was like, look, I've been on this win streak, and it's going to take a lot to get me off of it. So that final, bro. What did you think about those semis, bro?
I felt like you basically with Team. It's good to see that he's starting to make his way back finally, and that he's been very positive in his social media, and he's saying he's feeling good, and every win he gets feels even better. So. I was happy to see him there. Maybe not quite yet ready for a Berrettini.
Right.
But because I was even thinking in that match, I was like, if all things being equal, if Dominic Thiem can make this a backhand game.
Right. Exactly.
But I think Berrettini was too strong on that 1-2 punch with that serve and that forehand.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we get this wonderful final of number 1 versus number 2. Mm-hmm. And I just always kind of feel with Berrettini, if he plays somebody that can expose his backhand, that's where he's going to be in trouble. And Isaac, you've said many times that, Ruud is not like the king of backhands himself.
Right.
But I think his is probably a little more consistent than Berrettini's. And we talk about Berrettini's forehand a lot. Ruud's forehand ain't nothing to play with either.
No, and especially on clay, because he's got all that spin and all that. It pushes you. It's very much like Dominique Thiem's was, but I think Dominique is still trying to get his strength and his form back to really be able to hit those really hard, strong topspin forehands. Casper's there. And I think that was really the difference between those two matchups, was that Casper had his forehand and he was able to really protect and utilize his backhand a lot better than Thiem was able to.
Well, let me tell you, I already liked Casper Ruud. But let me tell you what's kind of getting me to love him a little bit. Did you see in the press conference when they asked him about people calling him a pusher?
No, I missed that. What'd they say?
Well, they said that they were like, hey, what do you think about, play, not, they didn't say players, but they're just saying people saying that you're a pusher. And he said, yeah, I've heard that before. And he said, all I'm going to say is I invite any of those people to come play me in a match.
See, you better step up and tell it, Mr. Ruud.
He said it with his chest.
With the chest out. Say it with your chest. Like, come play me. If you feel like that, yeah, I'm a pusher. Come see. I'll push your ass right out of the court.
Push you right to the bakery.
Right? Come on now. Oh, I missed that, bro. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, so with that response, I was like, okay, Casper, you are gaining even more points with me.
I love it. I love Casper. I think he's got a great attitude. He seems like a very friendly person. And like I said, I love his game. I really, really do. He is a beast on clay. Beast.
So, shout out to Casper Ruud and to Berrettini for making it to the finals, and to Dominic Thiem for making his first semifinal in a while. So,
absolutely, all good things at that tournament.
Yes. So let's move over to the 500 tournament, the one that
Yes.
was in Hamburg, the Hamburg European Open. And this one was probably my favorite of the lineups, because you had Alcaraz and Rublev and Schwartzman and Carino Busta and Van der Sloot, Hans, Basilashvili, Khachanov, Runa, and you still had people in there like Karatsev and Musetti, and there were a couple of good players, Baez, and
your boy Davidovich Fokina was up in there.
Yeah, so some very, very good people. So so before I turn it over to you, I just want to shout out our boy Aslan for getting a couple of victories under his belt, because it's been a little tight on him recently.
Yes.
So he took out Hans.
Yep.
Matter of fact, dropped him off at the bakery.
See?
And then he took out that Galan.
Correct.
So that was great. And he, once again, lost to that Cerundolo.
Right. And almost got him, though. Tiebreaker.
Yeah. So talk to us about the semifinals.
Yeah, man. Really good, interesting matchup. So, of course, up top, you had Alcaraz, who was like, Karen Khachanov, ain't nobody scared of you. I'm going to drop you off. And so then he got a hold of Mokan, which, that Mokan he's the young man, Alex Mokan. He is the young man that I believe is being coached now by Djokovic's former coach.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm seeing his name a lot more in draws, which is really nice to see. Because, like I said, we've always talked about Djokovic and his camp. But I actually liked Djokovic's coach. I actually thought he was a good guy. So the fact that he's with somebody who's making strong improvements and we're seeing their name more speaks to, in my opinion, his coaching. So Mokan is doing good. So kudos to him for making it to that semi. But of course, Alcaraz was like, I'm Carlos. So sit down somewhere with your breadstick.
Right.
Yeah. And the other one, I tell you what, how about Musetti? I mean, I actually thought that Cerundolo would have had the edge going into that match because he's just been so hot of late. And Musetti was like, I'm not having any of it, sir. No, we're gonna take this out in 2 sets, straight sets.
Right.
And I'm gonna make my first. I don't know if it was his first, but it was. Was it his first ATP final?
It was.
Yeah. So I was like, kudos to you, Musetti.
Well, and I honestly, Isaac, I thought this was going to be a really straightforward affair for Alcaraz.
Yep.
I thought he was just going to run through Musetti. And even though Musetti won that first set, when Alcaraz came back and won that second set in a tiebreaker,
right,
I thought he was about to drop him off at the bakery in the third set.
You know what? I thought the same thing, Bryce. I thought the same thing. But yeah, well, here's what I will say, and I think this is as well. This is one of those instances where they've played each other in the juniors. And you know how that is. When you've played somebody in the juniors, you ain't scared of them. Even if they are on a run and they beat Rafa and Djokovic in the same term, you still thinking of that same person that you played in the juniors that you was able to get up on. And I think because of that, Musetti was really, in my opinion, more comfortable in that entire match. So even though it was really his first, tour ATP final and even a 500, so that even brings more pressure. I think by him playing someone he played in the juniors really allowed him to just be very calm and really play in my opinion, phenomenal final.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a strong take because Musetti had like several match points. And sometimes that that can really come back to haunt you.
Right.
And but he was like,
Right? You're not gonna take this from me, son.
No,
No, I'm a
not
year older than you.
right. He's not
And
the same. So yeah.
exactly. And how about that also, Bryce? Just a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old in a 500 ATP final.
Yeah.
That to me is good stuff, man. That means that that the sport is definitely in good hands.
Yes, indeed. So shout out to both of them.
Yes, and Musetti, the next time we see you, you need to actually have an interview with Brothers on Tennis. I'm just going to say
that. Yeah.
that.
Isaac, I'll fist pound you later on that one.
Just saying.
We'll just keep that one moving. So anyway, so let's stay with the same group of people because we have a 250 this week in Croatia.
Okay.
And once again, a lot of the same players. Top seed is Alcaraz. Then we have center, Bruna, Baez, Moken, Altmaier, Fonini, and then rounding out the top 8, Musetti.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it is again on clay. It's nice to see Sinner out there, which is kind of interesting. The fact that he would be on red clay, given the fact that we're about to be in hardcourt season. But yeah. I feel like in this particular tournament, I think Carlos will have picked up some good things from that 500. Mm-hmm. So it'll be tough for me to see him not making the final. But I tell you, the matchup that I actually would like to see up on that top half, in the semis, I'd love to see Alcaraz versus Rune. I really want to see that matchup.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. Two of the young guns, folks. Two of the young guns.
Right. And then, at the bottom, a quarter that I want to see is Musetti and Baez.
Yes.
So who are you thinking is going to ultimately make it to the finals of this tournament?
In truth, Bryce, I think we might have a repeat of last week.
Right.
I really do, because I just think that Musetti is probably riding a nice little wave of confidence. And I don't know that clay is really Sinner's best surface. So I actually think that if they do meet up, I would kind of give a slight edge to Musetti, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, really?
I would, yeah. I always just look at Yannick Sinner as being more of a hardcourt player just from a movement standpoint, because I know he's a skier and everything like that, but I don't know. I feel like he's still got a little bit of a questionable movement on clay.
I agree. Yeah.
So I feel like because of that, Musetti would be able to use a lot of his variety to be able to not allow him just to hit his strong, powerful shots, which again on clay gets nullified as well. So I would lean to Musetti.
And you're thinking that Alcaraz?
Yeah, I think he would get him this time around. I think he'd be like, okay, now you got your little title, but we're not gonna make it 2 in a row though. Just gonna sit down.
Exactly. So, that's gonna be a fun one to watch.
Yes.
And then next we have the Generali Open in Pittsburgh, Austria. And this is, a little bit of the buster draw, mainly because the top 2 seeds have already pulled out, which were Casper Ruud and Berrettini.
Right.
So that is leaving us with RBA, Karatsev, Ramos Vignolas, Greek Spore, Pedro Martinez, and Sousa again.
Right.
So looking at the draw, look at that. Karatsev plays Laovic tomorrow. He gonna beat us. Anyway, how do you see this tournament playing out?
So now what's interesting is, I don't know if you see down there at the bottom there.
I do.
But you do see a Dominique team there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I love Karatsev,
right,
I'm thinking this might be Dominique's opportunity to get into a final. I really do. I think it will. My guess is it will be him against Karatsev. But I actually think that I would pick Dominique Thiem to get to that final. And in truth, I might be picking Dominique Thiem to win this damn tournament.
Well, here's the interesting thing. So I don't know that I necessarily see Dominique Thiem playing Karatsev, because I think Karatsev will have to get past Andujar.
Oh, correct.
And on clay?
Yeah, Andujar is a beast on clay. That is for sure.
Yeah. So it might be an Andujar Dominique Thiem
semifinal, right? Which I would still pick Dominique Thiem, though, to be honest with you. Right. I love Pablo Andujar, but I just feel like Thiem's got he's got enough game at this point in time that he should be able to get past Andujar.
So who gets through on the top half?
And that's a good question, because I was kind of looking at it, and I don't know that I see anybody messing with my boy Ramos Vignoles. You know, he's on my B squad, so right. I got to go with him, of course, to make it to the final. So I'm going to call a Ramos Vignoles Thiem final, but I do see Thiem raising a trophy. I really do. How about you, bro?
I would love that for him. Yeah. No, I think you've called it right, because, I mean, probably your casual fan will look at the top half and be like, oh, you've got RBA there, but we know clay is not necessarily his strongest suit, and it is for Ramos Vignoles.
Exactly.
But, you know, they're both Spanish, so you never know what happens. I mean, you know what happens when it's Rafa and a Spanish.
Exactly.
But when you get the rest of them together,
just throw it in the air, and whatever falls out, you're like, oh, okay, there it goes.
That's a grab bag. Well, maybe Alcaraz is separating himself too. So once you get past those two,
right. Exactly.
That is funny. That is funny. So, okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe Dominique Thiem can get his first title back.
Certainly hope so, man. Yes.
All right. And so then we have, for the final men's tournament, and this one is part of the U.S. Open Series, hardcourt in Atlanta. We have the 250 Atlanta Open. And as you can imagine, these are the type of people that are there. We have five. I'm sorry, that sounded a little bit like shade, and I didn't mean it to be shade, but judge for yourself. So we've got Riley Opelka, John Isner, Alex DeMuir, okay, Francis Tiafoe, Tommy Paul, Jensen Brooksby, Nick Kyrgios, and Brandon Nakashima. And in addition to those people, you have Jack Sock in the mix. You have Dominique Kupfer. You have Sebastian Korda he was. He was back, but I guess he's moving on to the next tournament now.
Exactly.
And I hate that we've got our guys playing in the first round, Kudla and Mackie McDonald.
Yeah. I was not too happy to see that one.
So,
but it'll be a good battle though, because those are some strong guys. So that'll be a fun one.
So talk to me. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, man. So up top, let's see who we got. So I tell you what could be interesting is you may have the doubles pairing playing one another in Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis. That would be interesting. At this point, I'm not sure what form Nick is in, but if he's in any of the form that we've seen thus far this early summer, I would put him through. And if he were to have to face de Minaur, to me, that would be an interesting match, because even with the Kupfer Duckworth, I don't know that we've seen much from Kupfer of late. And even with Duckworth, I would expect de Minaur to get through that. So those two men, it's tough to kind of call, but I'm going to give the edge to Kyrgios.
Okay.
And I will say that Kyrgios will play, and who am I picking? I think Kyrgios might end up playing Tommy Paul, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to call that one as the first semifinal. The one on the bottom, I am going to say Big Foe versus Brooksby.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. So
how about you?
So you got Kyrgios versus Tommy Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want it to be Kyrgios versus Jack Sock.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how this whole American thing goes, but I guess you probably would have to give the edge to Tommy Paul. Opelka ain't really been doing nothing lately, so
Exactly. I think that he may not be in form.
right. So I think that sounds good. And then at the bottom, yeah, Brooksby definitely, and yeah, Tiafoe. It's funny. Tiafoe should come through on that, and I think I watched Tiafoe at Indian Wells against Notch. So he just has more weapons than Brandon. So
right.
Hopefully he can take advantage of that. But I tell you what, in the doubles draw, you could potentially have in the semifinals Special K, Kyrgios and Kokkinakis.
Yep.
Against Jack Sock and Rajiv Ram.
I see that. That could be fun. That would be fun. I hope they do meet up. That would be awesome.
Because you then know Sock and Kyrgios are playing together next week in DC.
In DC, that's right. Right. Mm-hmm.
So this Hotlanta Open, I think will be very interesting. Who are you thinking walks away with the title though?
As far as doubles goes?
Single. I just wanted to bounce.
Oh, in singles. Oh, I'm so sorry. In singles, who am I gonna call on this one? You know what? I'm just gonna step on out there. I'm gonna call Big Foe.
Okay.
I'm gonna call Big Foe. Hot Atlanta, Big Foe need to show up and represent for the folk.
I am gonna say I want Big Foe to win. Okay, that's my hope and my desire. But I would put my coins on Brooksby.
Yeah. Because Brooksby, like I said, he's got a great game and he's clever. But the thing is, I just haven't seen Jensen too much of late. So I'm hoping that he's kind of ready, if you will, for the hardcore season. So I agree with you. I think that will be an interesting. Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that choice, my man.
So lots of good tennis going on. So if people want to watch matches, I mean, you got a bunch.
You got plenty.
Well, Isaac, one thing that we have not talked about that popped out last week in the news was that there was an announcement that all members of the Big Four are going to be on team. I'm going to stop calling them Team Europe and just call them Team Goats.
Exactly.
At the Laver Cup. So for anybody who doesn't know who the Big Four are, Djokovic, Nadal, Andy Murray, and Roger Federer.
Yes.
And let me just add this one thing. That's 4. So they have to name 6 to the team. And, my guess is you add Medvedev and Alcaraz.
You would think.
I don't know how they lose.
They don't. And that's the problem. Bruh, I tell you, man, I know we were joking about this earlier. With the format the way it is, it's hard for me to really see how the world is going to be able to compete. I mean, you said it best. They turning away top 10 talent. I mean, they like, no, you can put in your application, but it is not for sure that you will make the lineup.
I'm not sure Team World would beat the B squad for Europe.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be funny.
It's truth. You are speaking nothing but the truth, sir, and I respect that.
Because like if I'm looking at the rankings and you take out the Big Four, and I had said Alcaraz and Medvedev, right? So then your B squad team would look like Tsitsipas,
yep,
Casper Ruud, Rublev, FAA, Sinner, and Hurkacz.
Well, but no. FAA would be on on Team World because he's Canada.
Sorry, yeah, there. Oh, I'm sorry. So take FA out.
Yeah.
So you have Center, Herkic, and Cam Norrie.
Exactly. Yep. Where does Hubie stand? Oh no, you said Herkic.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's right.
He's number 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're exactly right. I think the B squad would still be, you know, the odds-on favorite. It's too funny to me. So I personally think there should be a little bit of a shift in order to make it competitive, but I know that there are others that are just like, oh, they just need to just keep getting beat down until they can produce some talent to win. And I shouldn't say talent because of course
Right.
the world is talented, but it's just when you're looking at the comparison, it's a bit unequal, y'all.
Could you imagine sitting in that boardroom where you said, okay, today we're going to discuss how we changed the rules since the world clearly can't and probably will never win.
Right? I mean,
so we won't give them Russia back.
I know, right? We'll give them Russia. There you go. That'll even things out a little bit.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
I tell you what, man. This is going to be probably the most anticipated Laver Cup because there's never been a year before where you had all members of the Big Four. Because I don't think Andy has ever played, right?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, you're right. And Djokovic has only played once, right?
Right. And
yeah.
I think a lot of people will look at this as maybe the one and last time you will see the Big Four together in an event like this.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yep. So, yep.
So I'm just gonna warn you, Isaac. I got a business meeting thing going on in Boise that first day of Laver Cup. So I'm be trying to avoid all kind of scores and I'm flying home that night. And I'm gonna ride in. I'm gonna pat the dog on the head. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch the matches so I can be ready to go for Saturday the next day.
Absolutely, brother. I hear you on that, man. I don't want nobody messing it up for me. I'm gonna watch it. That is an event I will watch every single point. There will be it will be, and for those of you who don't know me, Bryce knows me very well. I tend to be more of a DVR tennis watcher. But on this instance, yeah, I probably will watch it live and I will be watching every single point. No fast forward.
Right. And I'm the exact opposite of Isaac. I do not like watching tape tennis. I pretty much only watch live. But I'm going to watch this on tape. You better believe that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to be good, folks.
And speaking of being good, your boys, we're getting ready to hit the road this Friday night. So we are looking forward to getting out to some of these tournaments, seeing some of you. Next week we'll be in DC for, the City Open in DC. So look for a lot of good footage for us there. There's going to be a City Taste of Tennis there as well. So you know how we do at those events. Shout out to AYS Marketing and all of our friends and family there.
Yes.
And then we're going to go to Cincinnati, where we'll be at the Western and Southern Open, which we're very excited about.
Yes.
Back to the city where Isaac and I met, where we used to work for the same company.
That's right.
And then, of course, we're going to wind things up by hitting the U.S. Open. And with all of that, Isaac, we've got Venus and Serena each playing 2 warm-ups going into the U.S. Open.
Right? I mean, come on, bro. That is news that has definitely gotten me excited. As long as well as the Laver Cup, the fact that we got our queens out there trying to get in some playing time, it's just always a wonderful thing. So that we will definitely be on the lookout for.
Yeah, we have Venus is going to be playing in DC. And then Venus and Serena are both going to be playing in Toronto. Then Serena is going to be playing in Cincinnati. And then both of them will be playing in the U.S. Open. So sometime in the next week, we will be interviewing Eric Eichmann, who is the coach of both Venus and Serena. So we plan to get, some information and some updates from somebody who clearly knows the scoop.
Yes. So
shout out to Eric. We're really looking forward to talking to you. And of course, we're going to bring that interview directly to all of you.
That's right. Should be fun, folks. Listen in.
Yes. So, Isaac, any final words you have before we wrap this one up?
There's a lot of tennis going on out there. So, folks, definitely, get your tennis hat on. Watch some tennis. It's all, really starting to ramp up towards the Summer Hardcourt Series and the U.S. Open. So get in there, watch tennis. And while you're watching tennis, you can always get on your little phone or your iPad, pull up www.brothersontennis.com, go to that shop page, and just kind of check out some gear while you're watching some tennis, because all of y'all would look fantastic with a Brothers on Tennis t-shirt on. I'm just saying. Y'all would look real good watching tennis with that on.
Fantastic.
And back to you, Bryce.
All right, then. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Enjoy the tennis, everyone, and we will be back with you next week, if not sooner, with a potential interview. So, on behalf of the podcast, this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone, be good out there.